up, guys? Welcome back to the JP and Trav Show on the Indie Shooter YouTube channel. As always, it's your boy JP. I'm coming live to you today from Bentonville, Arkansas, as I'm in Bentonville to see some family for tomorrow. And below me, I have my esteemed co-host, Travis Davidson. Travis, how you feeling, man? Where you coming from?
Man, I'm feeling great. I'm up in Branson, seeing the folks. Hung out a little bit of Branson Landing today. Excited to spend really the rest of the week here, and so excited that I logged on, and my man Ty's here. So, welcome, brother.
Yeah, man. Thank you for having me. Always a great time to be here. I look forward to any of the times I get to stop in. So super excited, especially with the slate of college football games we have this weekend.
Right.
Oh yeah, it should be an amazing time of food, family, and football. Guys, as you know, we were supposed to have Barry from the Barry and Matt show on. He had some family things come on, so Ty graciously, as always, said, "Hey, you know what? I got time. Let me hop on with you." And as Trav just said below, man, anytime Ty wants to come, he has an open invitation. So we're glad to have him here with us tonight. You guys know the content we've made with him. It's going to be a great show. So, with that being said, guys, let's go ahead and dive into this Oklahoma State review. And Ty, you can tell me your opinion. Excited to get your opinions as an outsider on this game. It was really an interesting time for those of you who were in the chat. I was there. I got to be there. Trav and I hung out a long time Friday night. It was great to be with my brother in person. Had a grand old time out in Norman. And then Saturday, hanging out at Yo Pablo. He got to meet my daughter. I got to meet his parents. It was a great time. Then we mosey on over to Gaylord Memorial Stadium. Watch OU just go ham on the Cowboys in the first quarter. I mean, I thought I was gonna burn up from the field being on fire. That's what I felt like. And then, the offense just went ice cold. But the defense, which is where I want to start. And Ty, we were talking before the show even started about how people thought Brent Venables just forgot how to coach defense. And I think Saturday was a culmination of like, this guy didn't forget, right? Was it him or was it the players? Trav and I have been talking about that for weeks, right? Like, which one is it? Is it the players are catching up, or is it that BV is just not putting them in the correct positions and he's not doing this, he's not doing that, right? So let me start with you, Ty, because I want to get your outsider's perspective, and I'll let Trav round it out as a person obviously who was there in the press box and got to talk to some people and know some people. What was your impressions of the Sooners in general, especially on the defensive side of the ball?
Yeah, I thought, and I even made a video about this with Todd Bates. I never got the questions. Guys, they're in year one. Like, there's a lot of moving pieces here. And I thought it was interesting, speaking of Todd Bates in particular, he lost a recruiting battle to Freddie Roach of Alabama, and then the literal godfather of defensive line coaches up at Ohio State. And people are panicking. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, guys, anybody in the nation will lose it. Like, Freddie Roach just lost JT Tuimoloau last season to Larry Johnson up at Ohio. Like, that happens whenever you're dealing with this quality of recruiter. It's all good. And with Brent Venables, the thing I've been saying is you don't go from being in conversation for the best defensive coordinator in college football for a decade to forgetting how to coach football. Like, that just doesn't happen. Any issuances I've seen with Oklahoma, and, I think execution has been there. But the only other area, and you and I talked about this, JP, and I don't look at Venables for this. To me, the question is on Ted Roof, is situational play calling, right? Like, earlier in the year, y'all played Iowa or Kansas State, and when y'all played Kansas State, your rush defense ranked 101st in the nation. You're in a 3rd and 5 with 3 down linemen, nobody near the line of scrimmage other than those 3 guys, and you'd been getting whooped all day. It's tough to blame execution when you're putting guys in positions that, statistically speaking, are not advantageous to success. A few weeks ago, y'all were in a 4th and 3 and you had your DBs 7 yards off. They ran the same play they'd been running all day. They weren't pushing the ball north and south. They were pushing it east and west. So whenever you're playing a team that's pushing east and west, it makes no sense to play that far off. They converted. But the reason why now you're seeing it is, guys, this is a complex scheme. This is one of the most intricate schemes in college football. And the reason why I was never even worried about the situational play calling is the staff has to learn the players at their disposal to understand when they can call which plays. You look at Clemson. Clemson with Brent Venables would run a 3-man front against a 3rd and 5 because they had the dudes to do so. Give Brent Venables some time. He's going to be right there. I have not swayed in the slightest from my excitement and my opinion on the future of the Oklahoma Sooners with this staff.
Yeah, well said. Well said. And it's, everybody wants to freak out, and especially with the defensive scheme. And I had posed this question a couple times, and we all have, know the defensive scheme is complicated, sure, but it's you have to want to work and get uncomfortable and things like that to understand it. It's a 60 plus game or 60 plus page game plan. Like, you have to want to run towards that type of work. And people ran towards that type of work with Venables at Clemson because they watched the NFL draft. And they said, hey, if I go and I work as hard as those guys did, that's what it looks like. And I'll go as a high draft pick, right? So, people want to say, hey, look, Grinch had defensive draft picks. I mean, you look at Benito, you look at Perrion, Isaiah Thomas. I mean, you can go on and on. Asamoah, Delarian Turner, yeah, you can go on and on and on. But then you start to think, what would these guys have been in a system with Venables? I mean,
Benito would have been a problem, a genuine problem in college football with Venables.
And the thing is, I guess that what I always keep going back to is how many people or how many recruits and players that are on the defense in Oklahoma had a Clemson offer, and B, had Clemson as a finalist. Because that's one of two things, right? The Clemson offer is they identify this person as somebody who wanted to work, put in that work, put in that strain, be uncomfortable. Then have Clemson as a finalist. They were understanding of that work, and they were okay with being uncomfortable, okay with straining and that kind of thing. And that's what you kind of look at is people want to say, oh, different scheme physically. Alex Grinch famously said you couldn't be over 295 pounds on his defensive line and get on the field. He would hold you off the field if you were over that. He famously said that he wanted small up front, So with that, people have brought that up, and it's a great point. We have some bigger guys this year, but it's because they had to add a ton of weight to them, right? So it's like, if you play at a certain weight your entire life, and then, they're like, hey, you're going to have to play 30 pounds heavier this year, you're not going to be as good. So with that being said, the physical part is one thing, but it's the mental part, man. Alex Grinch's scheme was meant to be simple, was just go. Because his thing, speed D. If I can just make everybody, it's just simple, they won't have to think and they'll go. So you're going with players that recruited to be on a smaller defense that's simple. And now you've got bigger bodies that you need, and it's way more complex. So I think we talk a lot about the physical differences where we don't maybe talk about the mental differences of preparing for the games on defense. And I think it just took a little bit longer for them to get there. But against Oklahoma State, you really saw it, man. I mean, you saw it in leaps and bounds. This defense has actually played really good ball for the last, 3 or 4 games. Really, I mean, if you think about it. So it's like, West Virginia, they played well. Iowa State, they played well. I know Baylor was in there, but and then obviously they played lights out against Oklahoma State. I think the defense was on the field for 103 plays, if I'm not mistaken, and only gave up 13 points.
Unbelievable. That's a statistical anomaly in and of itself.
Yeah, that's absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
So with that, I mean, the Palace was rocking. It was the best I had seen all year. I don't know if they knew there was a bunch of defensive recruits in town. I actually, what I would argue is it's not about the opponent. it is about the opponent to an extent, but it's how you're playing. How the team plays absolutely affects how the crowd is. And the team came out absolutely with their hair on fire. I mean, en route to what would have been one of the most historically dominant games in the series history.
Y'all were en route to hang over 100 on them.
Exactly, and it's like it was, and Willis fumbles that one going down the sideline, and it's like you hate that for him, but it's like 35. You're looking at it and going, "Geez, we can do anything we want." Now, obviously, there are some valid questions headed the way of Jeff Levy about, why are you snapping the ball with 20 seconds left on the play clock? Why are you? And there's a certain thing like I've always said, hindsight's 2020. I will live and die with hindsight's 2020. If he's playing a certain way and playing quick, and we continue to score, then everybody's like, man, Levy, I love this man, fast, aggressive. Because the argument is, we got up 28-0 in the first quarter. Keep doing what you're doing. Because the argument is, well, if you go away with what was working, you're just playing not to lose. You're not playing to win. So you stay aggressive. Well, if you go fast and it doesn't work, it's slow it down. Drain that clock, man. You got to lead. So I think nearly all play calling. Everybody was mad play calling West Virginia in a monsoon when Marvin Mims is dropping a touchdown pass. Willis takes too sharp an angle. Like everybody just says, like, if we don't win a game 100-0, then the play calling was terrible. Like that's often how it goes. But I will say I would like to see the play clock drain a little bit. But if I'd have told last week on the show, JP, if I'd have said, hey guys, I'm feeling pretty good about it. I think we hold Oklahoma State to 13 points. I think we win by at least 2 scores. The comments would have blown up and been like, sunshine pumper, this guy, he doesn't know what he's talking about. What's going on, man? We hear this every week. We never win by 2 scores. And then
100%.
And then the post-game show, all we're taking is calls going, oh, man, get rid of Levy, get rid of Gabriel, get rid of them all. I'm like, dog, like a double-digit win against Bedlam when before the game, everybody was going, I just want a 1-point win. You had people on the text line saying, hey, I just honestly don't see a single avenue towards an Oklahoma win. Like, I don't even know how we get there. I can't even explain it away. I'm like, and we win by that much, and everybody's like, oh, sky is falling. Fire everybody. I actually did get some food, so I'm going to eat while we're doing this.
That's the implications of being a blue blood program, man. Expectations are always high.
Well, and not only high, but unrealistic. I mean,
fandom. Yeah, it's fandom at its best.
Yeah, you're fanatic. So unrealistic because I'm not saying it's unrealistic to expect good play calling or to play well or anything like that. Like, it's just like if anything goes wrong. I mean, we've seen it. We saw it last year when we were 9-0. Like, it is what it is. And it's like you can win every game, but if you don't win in the style that is beautiful, then something's got to change. So, JP, what do you think?
I literally, Trav, I was just talking.
Yeah, he said that exact same thing.
Said the same thing. I said, Trav and I last year, how many times did we get called sunshine pumpers? Because we're on here saying, guys, we're 9-0. Why y'all tripping so much? But the same people that were tripping last year about the dubs are now tripping on BV about not getting wins. And some of the same people are saying, well, Lincoln won 11 games last year. Last year was an 11-2 team. I'm like, oh, really? Now you feel good about the wins last year. That's not what you were saying last year, though.
Exactly.
You was upset because we was dragging a roster that had as many draft picks as Alabama. We dragged them, to an 11-2 season, barely getting by Kansas, barely getting by West Virginia. I mean, that's why you were mad. But now you're saying it's an 11-win team. Okay, I'm gonna let you hold it. To answer some of the people in the comments, I'm in a business center of a hotel right now. It is cold. I don't know what the thermostat is. That's why this is a windbreaker, so it's not full coat. so I'm not like burning myself up.
Just looking
Being
fly,
watching
though.
there may be an employee that pops in from time to time. I don't know. I'm muted if they do. I'm gonna act like they're not there. We're gonna be all right. We make it work. If Parker Thune can do a podcast from the back of his car in a Starbucks parking lot, I can do it in a hotel room.
That man is a treasure.
He is.
Absolute treasure.
He is, man. Oh, and I do have to give a shout out to a friend of the show, TJ. You know, he trekked to West Virginia with me in that monsoon so cold. And he has a saying that he always says, I'm feeling cautiously optimistic this week, JP. And Trav was saying the same thing last weekend. We were feeling cautiously optimistic. We got the dub. We feel good about being bowl eligible. Excited to talk about in the future of the show. The future of the show. What we're going to be doing when it comes to bowl season and potentially who we're going to be playing. It's going to be fun to kind of map that out. But Ty, I want to give you the floor for a couple minutes before we move on to our game week and talking about Tech. How are you feeling about Bama right now? You guys are sitting at number 7 in college football playoff poll. Are you okay with that? Do you feel like that's too high? Do you feel like
we're not taking Bill O'Brien either. So save your Bill O'Brien sales pitch.
We can keep him, dog.
Well, there goes half of the content I had planned for this stream. So I think we're very lucky to be at 7. I think the committee, I mean, look, as an Alabama fan, I want to sit here and be like, yeah, we're about where we should be. We're a very talented team. We have the ability to play with anybody. But the problem with me saying that is time and time again, we've shown we can't get out of our own way. What kills me the most, guys, I would feel totally different about Alabama if they would have played great games this year, but lost to LSU in a great game, but lost in a great game. I'm watching Alabama lose by 3 points to Tennessee while committing 17 turnovers. Like, the fact that they keep it that close while having 17 turnovers, first and foremost, makes no sense. I'm watching Alabama barely lose to LSU while committing like 15 turnovers and then running a 1-4-6 defense against one of the most efficient running quarterbacks in the nation. We choose to roll out with one defensive lineman. That was just the most astounding thing I have ever seen. And guys, you want to know the beautiful kicker about that? We had one defensive lineman decided to play outside and inside linebackers on the line. We put the inside linebackers on the outside linebackers on the inside, and 0 quarterback spies against one of the most efficient rushing quarterbacks in the nation.
To be fair, they didn't see it coming.
They did not see it coming. Nobody saw it coming. Nobody in their right mind. That is a great point. Do something so off the wall, nobody's going to see it coming. And it's just time and time again, Alabama can't get out their own way. But that gets me to the game this weekend. And guys, the Iron Bowl is different. I don't have to tell it to y'all. Oklahoma fans, Texas fans, y'all are the subsect of fan bases, Michigan, Ohio State. You guys have a rivalry that's so impassioned. You get it. The second I start talking about it, conventional wisdom goes out the door. I don't think anybody here would be surprised to see this game be around 7 to 10 points because it's a rivalry game and nothing goes according to plan. Much like I don't think anybody would be surprised to see Alabama just beat the hell out of Auburn, right? And personally, I think that's what's going to happen. I don't know how much longer we're going to see Bryce in an Alabama jersey. We have to remember he has the shoulder injury. I have no knowledge of what he'll do, but I'm just trying to take advantage of every opportunity I have to watch Bryce Young play in an Alabama jersey while he's still here. So I'm going to say we win by at least 10. I have it at 14, but that's also me being very optimistic. And Matt, please don't do that to me. It's not at Jordan Hare. If we were at Jordan Hare, I'd feel much different. That place is absolutely cursed. I feel like Alabama by 14. I'm the only one not eating. I feel left out.
I just got gum. I'm just chewing.
He's just chewing. He's just chewing.
So 14, that's what you're going with, Ty?
Yeah. I just don't think Auburn's offense has been there. Our defense has been super inconsistent, but I don't know what they're going to bring to the table to really challenge them for 4 quarters defensively. But then again, like I said, it's a rivalry game. Who knows what'll happen? I'll say all this, and then everything I just said, all conventional wisdom will go out the window. I'm not even going to look at what Drew just said. Drew, you're dead to me now. Auburn by 40. That's blasphemous. I'm so hurt right here. Oh, guys. Oh, this is terrible.
Oh, Chris told him.
Chris told him. Oh no, yeah, that makes sense. That adds up.
Of course he did.
That adds up.
Yeah.
That adds up.
It adds up for sure.
Yeah, he says Auburn by 40. That'd still be a closer game than we had against Texas. So I don't know what we're on about. So
hey, you guys didn't have a quarterback.
Yeah,
I mean,
if we'd
still,
had Bryce in that game, things might have gone a little differently.
Yeah.
Hey, not if you have some games.
Matt says I was thinking Auburn 49-0. Matt, you're trying to give me a heart attack on the panel tonight, my man.
We all know that's not.
They're brutal.
Hey,
TJ coming after me about Mick Ultra. Man, I'm summer body starts in November, baby.
Hey, how else do we get bulking season going? You got to pack on those calories.
Tell you what, got some stroganoff and tater tot hot dish and all that going on. I'm bulking, baby.
Hibernation season. We gotta stay warm out here. All right.
Come on, guys.
Hey, guys, make sure you hit that like button. Okay. Anybody that's in here, please hit the like button. It helps us get picked up on the YouTube algorithm. Every like counts. We appreciate you. Make sure you subscribe as well. Make sure you share on Twitter and wherever else. Get as many people in here as we can. Let them know.
Yeah, it's like we'll have tons of people watching, but then like video is like 4 likes. Yo, you can hear me right now. I promise you. PSS, Drew, Matt, Blake, Tim, TJ, Steven. Like, just go hit like right now.
Guys,
do it right now.
It's the YouTube algorithm. Subscribers is not king anymore. It is your interactions. How many people comment? How many people like a comment, and a subscription? That's 3 interactions.
Just like audience rent. Audience rent, we don't value your following off of followers. We value it off of interactions. But yes, TJ, the bourbon will be coming later. Trust me on that.
All right, hey, let's get to this week's game. We will be heading to Lubbock, Texas at night. Tortillas will be flying. It will be the second straight night game at Lubbock, last one being in 2020 when the Sooners had an offensive explosion, scoring, I believe, 62 points when Ramondre Stevenson made his first debut of that season after the suspension. Spencer Rattler had an amazing game, similar to the game he had this last weekend against Tennessee. And always room for him. Hopefully he continues to do well. Think he'll probably come back, and we'll see what he'll do. But anyways, we're not talking about South Carolina. We're talking about OU. What are some keys to the game this weekend? Obviously, we're bowl eligible. So a part of me is like, I really don't care if we win or not this weekend. But the other part is just like, I want to finish 7-5 and have the opportunity to go 8-5 in the bowl game. Let's go out to Lubbock and let's kick some Red Raider booty. Trav, let's start with you. What are some keys to this week's game for the Oklahoma Sooners to come out with a road win in crazy Lubbock at night?
I think it comes down to the defense stacking another good performance. Texas Tech had season low 246 yards total offense last week against Iowa State. Very, very, very low scoring game. I know Iowa State's defense is good, but they've been giving up some points. But 246 yards, that is not much. And I would argue that the performance against Oklahoma State from our defense was equally as impressive as anything that Iowa State's defense has done this year. So the thing about defense is you got to play with confidence. And I think this Oklahoma defense is playing with probably the most confidence that they've had all season. A lot of people will say probably that happened after the Nebraska game. But I think it was so early and everybody was so new to the scheme. You couldn't really have confidence, right? You can't have confidence yet because you don't know what bad looks like, right? We've seen what bad looks like. They know what bad practices and bad angles and bad film, all that looks like. Yeah, now they've stacked 2 performances together. And I really think we hold Tech to like one of their lowest point totals of the season. I think we finished strong on it. And again, Eric Gray, 1,200 yards rushing on the season. I think you hand him the ball, slow everything down. I think Levy's going to take it to heart that he was snapping the ball so quickly. And he's going to slow some things down. Dylan will probably have a good bit of time. Their best their best defensive player is out for the season. So I think you're looking at a great game from the defense and a solid run game from OU, really.
Ty?
Yeah, so this game is going to be super interesting, and I'm going to piggyback and kind of pick up where you left off and talk about defense. And I think it's super interesting. I love the point you made about confidence because it goes directly into what you were saying about the mental aspect of this Brent Venables defense. And I don't think people appreciate, especially linebackers, what is asked. I mean, and I say this on my show, Travis. People always ask me when Bama's defense, not this year, obviously, but when they're a top 5 defense in the nation, well, why is it do I see someone streaking open? Why is it do I see Bama corners getting burnt? And I say, because if someone is one step off, the whole play falls apart. It is that like scheme intensive. Same with Brent Venables. Once you get it going, it's incredible. But the one thing I really like for Oklahoma to do in this game, turnovers, turnovers, turnovers. Guys, Texas Tech quarterback is just about at a 1-to-1 right now for touchdowns to interceptions. He has 12 touchdowns to 8 interceptions, and we know what Oklahoma has been doing in generating turnovers. They have been unbelievable. Billy Bowman, I mean, guys, he's playing himself into a really nice position on some early draft boards. I have been singing his praises forever. I think he's one of the most gifted prospects that came out of that class. I think he's going to continue to show that. I like Oklahoma to generate turnovers in this game, and I think that puts them in advantageous positions. Offensively, I'm really enamored with Oklahoma offensively right now. I started a deep dive, and I'm a little, I haven't gotten enough through to say anything with confidence, but I have a hypothesis. As bad as Oklahoma has been the past 2 games on third down, I've been watching y'all's first down. And I've almost been charting that if you don't have a successful first down play, it is almost like a 1-to-1 of you don't generate the third down conversion. And so first downs are super interesting to me right now for Oklahoma. I don't know. I think part of what you say, Travis, is so interesting because if you're going to be going fast, everybody has to be on the same page, like completely. And it's still year 1 with Levy, right? Like we expect for everything to come about so instantly. This isn't an easy offense to pick up. It is very intricate. It is very involved, and they're still so young into it. But at the end of the day, I like Oklahoma in this game for the main reason I said. I think Oklahoma is going to win the turnover battle once again and come out of this game victorious.
Yeah. And, one nice thing for the OU offense is they're not going to have to deal with a potential future first-round pick in Tyree Wilson as he is opted out for the rest of the season. So, Dylan Gabriel won't have to worry about basically the best player.
May I answer a question in the chat?
Yeah.
Keep It Real asks, do we think Billy Bowman could play good enough to leave early after next year? If he's playing at this level, yes. That interception he had against Oklahoma State, guys, that's the type of range displayed by safeties that scouts. I mean, for a safety to do that, they're looking and thinking, okay, well, we can put him back in our cover 3 techniques and know we have ultimate range on the back end. Yeah, he is that gifted. He really is that gifted.
Who it reminded me of, Ty?
Who?
And now he's not as physically built as this cat, but a first round pick in this last year's draft was a safety. You know the name?
First round pick at safety. I'm not sure off the top of my head. I want to say the Notre Dame safety, but that's a nice one. Yeah,
Kyle Hamilton had a play last year that was just like that. He came actually from further across the field and ran completely to the other side and picked off a pass. I don't know if it was the Clemson game or another game, but it was a night game. It was highly televised, and that I mean, what Billy did reminded me exactly of that, like being able to see it, identify it, get over there, bang,
Beautiful.
And what TJ brings up, I was gonna echo this. It was a busted coverage too because we ran a corner blitz from that side, and nobody rotated over, and it was just. But you had the athleticism. You have the athleticism because the rotation was supposed to happen so much more quickly. That's not how coverage is supposed to work on a corner blitz, where it just you leave a guy wide open and you require a safety to come screaming across the field to intercept
How many
the ball.
safeties have that range?
Like, yeah.
And Tim, I get it. We can say it was his first interception. That's fair, but he's a sophomore that's being asked to play the nickel in Brent Venable's defense, and just watch what he does for that defense. He's really solid in run stuffing. I mean, he's used to mask a lot in that defense. He's going to have an incredible season next year. I'm very excited for his future.
Yep. Travis hit the nail on the head. Had a corner blitz to single side. You can put the comment up if you want, but
oh yeah, I love that.
Yeah. So it's just when busts happen and you're still athletic enough to cover it up, on film, people are going to look at it and be like, "Hey, look, we need to be better than this." But Billy, it wasn't his first interception because he had another one.
I thought he had more.
Yeah. So
and he's dropped a few that he's made plays on. They weren't easy that he dropped. I'm not saying that he's been everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. 100%. And also, I want to correct something. Tyree Wilson didn't opt out. I thought he did. He got hurt.
Yeah, he's hurt.
He's hurt. Yeah, and that's my bad. For whatever reason, I thought what I was reading was that he was opting out of the last game and potentially bowl game that they were going to be in. I read that wrong, so I apologize. But yeah.
And a point on Billy Bowman. I mean, even the other defenders have said how much more comfortable they are when he's out there. When he was hurt, you kind of when you don't have somebody back there that you trust, like it can change everybody in front of you. So because you don't have eyes in the back of your head, you just have to trust that people are doing their job back there. And with Billy back there, they were just more confident. And again, like I said, playing with confidence in this defense, and really any position on the football team for sure, but just on this defense, man, it's big.
Yes, sir. Hey,
it's his second interception. It's not his first.
Let's talk a little bit of recruiting too, Trav. After your point, go ahead, and we'll talk some recruiting after.
No, we're good. Yeah, he's definitely dropped a lot of picks, but that was his second one, and it's not picks that are thrown right to him. He's making plays on the ball. He's jumping around. He's doing this, that, or the other.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and talk some recruiting. And with that, really quick, I want to talk about some NIL collectives as well. And Ty, I want your opinion on this. Being a Bama fan, being an SEC fan. Now, the Sooner Nation has had a couple squabbles this week because, basically the main NIL, Crimson and Cream, that came out is really being pushed by the players, and the university, it's giving fans opportunity to get involved and donate. They can pay a monthly sum, or they can do a one-time donation. Okay, nobody's twisting anybody's arm. Now there are people that are tweeting out some things. They're like, we want you to be involved. Like, if you're a fan, and you want this is your opportunity to get involved in your university and everything that's going on. There's been internal fighting between you can't tell me what to do with my money. I don't really feel good about paying kids, different stuff like that. And I hear that. That's fine. I think my issue is we hear about some of these SEC schools like Ole Miss and Auburn raising $10+ million off their fans, like that donated, like regular people. And I get sometimes concerned that, and Trav can confirm or deny this. I get concerned that sometimes I'm not sure OU fans are ready to go to the SEC, and I don't mean that negatively. Like, I do believe we have a very strong fan base, but I feel like it's to a point. And then when you ask them to go sometimes above and beyond or out of their comfort zone, they back up and they don't want to do it. And then they start making excuses and different things like that. And again, I'm not talking about like if somebody can't afford it, like if you need money to go buy Christmas presents and put food on the table, of course, like who in their right mind would say that? But if it's more of a convenience than a necessity, I think that's what we're talking about. Like you could spend $15 on a Hulu subscription or something like that. Which again, that's your problem. That's something you want to do. That's fine. That's what you decide to spend your money on. But you can't give $10 to a cause that will help your university and will help your athletic program. It's not just football. It goes to everybody. It will go to my sister, who's a track and field athlete, like, and it's posted on her Instagram. Like you can't, not even $10 a month, just $10 in general. Like, that's what I'm saying. I feel like people are just, yeah, I don't know. I don't want to stay on my soapbox too long, but Ty, just give me your opinion on the collectives that you've seen and what's going on at Bama. Are we off base? Is it crazy?
So it's interesting, and I have to wonder for Oklahoma in particular, because y'all have been such this traditional beacon in terms of culture, right? I mean, you think of the top cultures in college football over the past really 3 decades, and you'd be remiss if you aren't putting Oklahoma there. I have to wonder if there's this psychological aspect that feels like, well, we've been this steady force in college football for so long. These rapid changes are happening. Why would we need to adjust, right? Whereas in Ole Miss, they haven't been the steady force that y'all have, right? So that now they're looking at anything to try and get themselves to where y'all have been. Inevitably, though, NIL is here, and NIL collectives fascinate me. Really, you can ask Travis. This whole process fascinates me. From how we got here, personally, I feel very strongly that NCAA versus Alford is the reason we're here. By Justice Kavanaugh basically painting a target on the NCAA's back, questioning the antitrust structure. 6 days later, they figure out how to do NIL out of nowhere. All of a sudden, it's figured out. I think that it's one of those things where, yeah, you'd like to see it. But it's so interesting when you look around, right? Like you have Florida, where the guy is investing. What did he just drop? $15 million into the collective from the crypto. And then you have Ruiz at Miami. You have all these different places. And it's just, I'm really interested in what the future of NIL looks like to try and make it as even of a playing field as possible, right? Because I think that's where a lot of people are concerned. Like Silent in the chat, you say you don't like NIL, and I completely get it. I'm probably the last person to talk to about whether we should have NIL or not because I'm so on the side of like yes, and part of the reason I am in college, I did moot court. I could go to all the local high schools and teach speech and debate classes, like tutor, and get paid basically for my name, image, and likeness, being a national moot court individual, like being ranked. A football player couldn't do that. They couldn't go put on a camp, right? Like Jason Bean was at UNT. He couldn't put on a camp and teach the local Denton Ryan, Denton Geyer quarterbacks like, oh, these are the little intricacies. That was illegal. He couldn't get paid for that. And I'm sitting here thinking, I don't make my university any money, and I'm able to profit off of my name, image, and likeness, even though I'm doing university sanctioned events, and he's not. That never sat right with me. So I'm very much a proponent of NIL. I'm just so curious as to what the future looks like for it.
Yeah, and the thing is, and I'm glad you brought up that example because name, image, likeness, it isn't like people are like, they're already getting a free education. What more should they get, right? Like, it's like
I was getting a free education and I was still able to profit. So, I mean,
yeah, exactly. If you're a chemistry major and you made a YouTube channel about cool chemistry experiments and made them really fun and it got monetized, like you're allowed to do that because you're making money off your name, image, and likeness. It comes down to the question of, do I own my own stuff? Like, do I own my own name? Like, if I write my name on something and sell it, like that's me, that's mine. Like it's not the school, it's not anything like that. So in that, and that is what became the issue is it's like these guys, they don't have time for part-time jobs. Like you don't have a situation where it's like, we'll just get a job, like, like some other student would go work at, wherever. Like, no, you can't. You're not allowed to go make money. So, or you don't have the time to have a traditional job. So with that, they're getting a scholarship. They should be happy with that, this, that, and the other. Like, I completely disagree with that because it's taking away their humanity to a certain point. So, with that, Les is right. It's the pay for play that's the issue. But how do you stop it, right? So I think collectives are trying to make it a bit more about charity and a bit more about, a little bit evenly spread. So, like with the collectives, honestly, the worst part about it is there are some very loud, in OU Twitter specifically, there are some very loud proponents for it. There are some very loud people who oppose it. The problem is a lot of the reason I feel they're being so loud is because they don't like the person personally on the other side that's across the aisle, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
It's there's a beef going on these last 2 or 3 days that's been one guy basically saying, hey, look, if you just refuse to get involved in NIL, I don't unfollow me. I just don't understand why you would just refuse to be a part of it if you're a big Sooner fan or something like that. And then of course it's the caveat is if you can afford it, if it's not, taking food out of your kids' bellies or anything like that. And then the other side is, you can't tell me what to do. I'm sorry, I'm not going to fund the free agency program of my college. I'm not going to do this, that, and the other. If you are, you're just, you're a bum. You're an idiot. You're buying a box of donuts for, just that's part of the problem. Is I saw somebody the other day say they couldn't afford to do $10 a month, but they bought a blue check mark. Like,
yeah, it couldn't be me.
You can afford it. You're paying $8 a month to pretend you're important or to put off yeah. And it's like, and I'll say this about the check mark thing. Not every person that bought a check mark is a poser. I want to say that. Not every person that bought a check mark is a poser, but every poser bought a check mark.
Yeah.
So,
I love that.
It is what it is. So,
no.
Regardless, the collective, there's one that's been backed by the university. There's been one that's backed by the AD. There's been one that's backed by the president. All that. Donate to that one. Get it as a gift. And, they can benefit from all of the great things, right? Put it in their name. Just think of it as something that can spread your Christmas spending instead of getting the $150 gift. Do the $10 a month gift. Now you're paying for that gift over 12 months. It's basically like you're getting 0% financing on it. Good to go, and they can enjoy it all year. So, but it's a lot of what I'm hearing is the voting. If you don't vote, you can't complain about what politicians do. There are a lot of people approaching it like that. Hey, if you don't give to NIL, I don't want to hear you complain about not getting elite talent. Like,
straight up.
Because there are a lot of people that say, well, my vote doesn't count. I'm one person. There are tens of millions of votes that go, I'm one person. My singular vote doesn't count. Well, but you didn't even try and impact it at that point. Same thing with this NIL. Will your $10, bring a massive recruit? Likely not, but at least you're trying. At least you're chipping in. At least you're showing up. You know what I mean? So that's the approach that I've taken. But I think it's just evolved into this infighting that has way more to do with who's backing each one as opposed to what they're actually backing.
Yep, exactly. Like you said, if you're some of the same people, and I know for a fact, some of the same people that are going to complain or have complained about giving or not being able to give will be the ones that are like, fire Todd Bates because he didn't land Caden McDonald. Right? Or fire Todd Bates because he didn't land David Hicks, if regardless of whether that happens or not. They'll be the same ones that say that. And again, I'm not saying that we're going to be able to land somebody based just off of this. Yes, we have to have coaches that have a great game plan for the future of this student athlete. Like, that's their job. Yes, they're ultimately going to also come here based off of what they feel like they can get from this coach, this university, this football team to get them to the next level. But yes, now NIL is part of that, and we all have to recognize that. And like I said at the top, when you have Ole Miss and Auburn who are not on the same level as far as a football program as Oklahoma, not even freaking close. And they're doing that, but we're sitting over here bickering for weeks and just can't. I mean, we know we have one of the best fan bases around. We know that for a fact.
Especially on social media.
Especially
Goodness gracious.
Especially on Twitter. Like, we make our presence felt. We always do. So why are we bickering instead of coming together, right? Like that. I think that's my biggest piece. Is that, and Trav, I echo what you said, man. Like, at the end of the day, be a part of something, and if you can't, stop complaining about it. Like, it is what it is. But I do want to talk about recruiting really quick before we get too deep into a rabbit hole.
I love you. You basically referenced the Downs paradox of voting, whether or not you should go vote because of your opportunity costs elsewhere. And if you don't vote, you don't worry about it because you're assuming other people voted, right? And their vote will carry for you. But it's like, no, they're not you. They don't speak for you. So go ahead and let your vote be heard.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. It's and to your point, yeah, of course, recruiting, it comes down to coaching, where they're having a scheme and everything like that. But some of these players, like we're talking about, do you think Adrian Peterson would have not made it to the NFL had he not gone to OU? Like, do you think Derrick Henry wouldn't have made it?
That guy was going to the NFL wherever he went. Yeah.
You think Jadeveon Clowney would, not figured out how to make it to the NFL? You think Trent Williams, like some of these guys, like the guys we're going after with this NIL, they'll make it to the NFL out of like Texas, maybe. I know it's crazy, but like, even though they had 0 draft picks last year, but
that's so crazy to me.
Yeah, I know, makes no sense. But
that makes no sense.
But yeah, with that, we can certainly move on. But like I said, to your point, just stop the infighting, and our fan base can be all big and bad on social media. But when I was at the College World Series, it was an Ole Miss home game, and it's a farther trip for them than it was for us. Just saying.
Spit the facts. Just spit the facts. That's what we're saying. Let them the facts. Trav, give a quick update on recruiting. You ain't got to go super deep, but I know there's a lot of people asking about it in the chat, and then we move on.
Yeah, the vibes are great, man. We got some fast risers. Obviously, Kendall Dolby was a big time get today. One of the top JUCO defensive backs. His tape is incredible. I mean, I had people messaging me, and they were like, "Dude, like this dude's like a legitimate like top 3 round guy. Like, he's fantastic." So, yeah, really excited about that. Obviously, Chance Sanders coming through. Got a couple big bodies, couple defensive linemen. Something to remember late in the cycle, and a lot of people want to get worked up about, well, man, it's just some 3 stars, whatnot. Like, these are fast risers. Their tape looks good. A lot of people have, like, a lot of other schools have started to offer these kids. This is what happens all the time, man. So they get to evaluate as the season goes down. They get to evaluate their senior film. A lot of them are out of the playoffs now, so they get all of their senior film that they can evaluate, and they've been evaluating throughout the season. When you're having to install both sides of the ball at a place like Oklahoma throughout the year, like, you're not always just constantly, going out and visiting these kids, running through tape of kids that you can target initially, and this, that, and the other. Like, they found these guys, and they're absolutely stoked about them. So, with that being said, you look at a guy like R. Mason Thomas, who was a late flip from Iowa State last year, 3-star guy. He's probably our best pass rusher right now. So when you look at stuff like that, it's like, okay, the staff probably knows what they're identifying. High motor guys, athletes. That's what they look for, and that's what I believe they are getting. So I'm really excited about these 3 commits, and I mean, we've still got a lot of blue chippers out there. I don't think we probably have a single commit the rest of the time that isn't a blue chip, and I still think we land probably 4 more kids in this class.
Hey, Trav, who did you quote tweet earlier today? It's a certain player that's in the NFL, about 330 pounds, like 6'6". I believe his offensive tackle, blows
Oh,
people.
was
Blows,
it Trent?
Trent Williams, right? Silverback.
Yeah.
What do you remember what he was rated in high school? Do you remember?
He was 3-star?
Three stars, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, there are diamonds in the rough everywhere. Stop discounting 3 stars. Okay, especially when we have a staff that can identify and has proven to identify guys. Isaiah Simmons was a 3-star. Isaiah Simmons was a 3-star.
Well, y'all had a kid committed to your class. He's not anymore, but I loved his tape. Caleb Spencer for the cheetah position at OU. He was a 3-star, but when you imagine him with Brent Venables in that scheme, you're like, man, Phil Picciotti is a guy Travis and I were messaging back and forth with each other when he was a 3-star at the time. You watch his tape in that scheme and you're like, oh, this is a 1-to-1. This makes perfect sense. Josh Jacobs was a 3-star.
And it goes back to, we don't say that name around here. It all hurts us. I know Bama fans
but
love
it gives me
but,
the warm and fuzzies.
Yeah, exactly. But with that, it's exactly what we talked about earlier with how many players on this defense, ran towards the work, ran towards the discomfort, ran towards the strain. And I promise you, every single recruit on the trail right now, like, they're being communicated with, like, hey, this is the game plan. This is the work. You're going to get here and it's going to be uncomfortable, as you continue to learn. They're getting that on day one. They're understanding that. It's those guys that are choosing to play in an extremely difficult defense with a guy that's got really high standards for it. Like, you're choosing that. So, I mean, that's going to make up for whatever, ranking deficiencies you might have is, look, I want to play in this system. I don't want to play for that guy.
Yeah.
Les hit the nail on the head. It's not the stars, it's the evaluation. And y'all have a fantastic staff in terms of evaluation.
Now, they also, it's not the stars, it's the evaluation. There are a lot of 5-stars that are evaluated really well.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
But I do agree. You evaluate, and like I said, look no further than R. Mason Thomas. He's your best pass rusher, and he was one of the lowest rated recruits and latest recruits in last year's class, picked by this staff.
Yep. Hey, guys, a reminder, hit that like button. If you're in here, please hit the like button. Helps us, the YouTube algorithm. Make sure you also follow Ty Hayes at Around the Table Sports. Does a great job on his YouTube channel. Make sure you guys hit him up, not only on YouTube at Ty _ATS show, I believe.
I think it's ATS Sports Show on Twitter. I need to be better on Twitter.
Yeah. We gonna make sure that you get up there on Twitter because he got 11,000 on YouTube, but he only said had like 300 followers on Twitter or something like that. We gotta have.
I'm just not active.
300 followers.
I have, I think I'm just shy of 15,000 on YouTube, but I have 600 followers on Twitter. It's just because I don't. But you guys got to remember, out of my close friends from high school, the only people that know I do this, like nobody from my hometown knows I do this. Like they all think I write or work in law firms. It's Denzel and David. That's it.
Wow.
So I don't, it's not a lot of like people that I know promoting me or anything like that. And I'm pretty bad at promotion. So it is what it is.
I guess you owe Chicken 15-15.
Yeah. We've been talking about that running back for a long time, and Chicken, man, we need him. We need him pretty bad now. Y'all have Eric Gray, y'all have Barnes, y'all have got a bright future at the running back position, and Sawchuck. I mean, goodness gracious.
Yeah, y'all have had Kyrie, Trey Sanders. You guys got everybody leaving the Tide. What's up?
Well, I don't think either one of those are very surprising. Kyrie Jackson has been suspended for the past few games, and I don't think that experiment worked out as well as everybody thought. He was replaced by a redshirt freshman, and then replaced by Ricks, who was hurt all off season. So he's a very talented player. I think he's going to go somewhere else and be a really, really fun player to watch. Got the length, got everything. And Trey Sanders, guys, if there's any player in the transfer portal I'm rooting more for, I don't know that there's one than Trey Sanders. This kid has a story you wouldn't believe. Arrives at Bama, 5-star, #1 running back in the nation, breaks his foot. And for those of you that understand, like for a running back, that bone he broke in his foot, that's not an easy injury to overcome. And especially Trey, who is a cutting back, that's tough, but he worked through it. Next year, he's in a car crash that just about took his life. And I don't think a lot of people understood the severity of it. He almost died. And he had the same hip injury that Tua had. And they didn't know if football was even on the table. And now he's in a position where he can play football. And I just hope that someone gives him the opportunity he deserves, because the kid has so much determination, so much heart. And all I really want is for him to have the opportunity to show the nation how talented he is. So I'm going to be rooting for him more than anybody. I can't wait to see what he does.
100%. Hopefully he lands on his feet somewhere. There's crimson and cream, great. I don't know, but we'll see.
I mean, I just want him to end up somewhere good that's going to give him that opportunity. He's so talented. I'm really rooting for him.
All right, guys, let's get to our patented game, This or That. This or That is a game where we have prompts, 3 of them that we select side by side, and you have to choose one as if you had a gun in your head and give a little bit of a dissertation as to why you would choose that particular choice. So we got a couple on the docket for you guys today. Trav, who do you have with you there? Who is that?
That's what I'm wondering.
Gracie. Gracie is got her.
Oh my gosh, she's got a sweater on.
Her Christmas gear on. So Gracie was jumping up on the chair, so I figure she wanted to come up here and hang out. It was probably my food, but I'm gonna pretend it was y'all.
Well, welcome to the JP and Trav Show, Gracie. It's great to have you with us. Got some questions for you. Here we go. All right, first one. Eric Stryker or Nick Bonito. Now, I thought about going Ogbo or Okoronkwo and Eric Stryker, but I felt like they were like back-to-back, so I tried to space it out a little bit.
Man.
Go ahead, Ty.
This is a good one. I'm going to choose Bonito. I'm a little bit biased there. I really love Bonito's game. JP, I've talked to you how many times? And as great as Stryker is, I really enjoyed watching Bonito. And I know, I think the correct answer is Stryker. But like I said, this is a very biased choice of mine. I really enjoyed watching Nick Bonito play football.
Yeah, and if I'm a NFL GM, I'm picking Bonito because he's just well-rounded. He can drop back in coverage. He can beat somebody off speed. He's got moves. He's wildly talented. If I'm just wanting to watch a football game and be entertained, it's Eric Stryker, because that guy had one job and one job only: go get the quarterback.
Yeah,
just go. Like it was the same. He was like Mariano Rivera with he had one pitch. You got one pitch, and it didn't matter because he would just smoke that tackle, and there's nothing he could do about it, and he'd be in the backfield. So, I think just from a pure entertainment standpoint, it would be Stryker. Like I said, I know Bonito. I expect him to have a great career, and he's a very talented player. But man, yeah, Stryker was just fun to watch. If you're sitting back and you just want entertainment, Stryker's the guy.
Yeah. Eric Stryker had a constant impact most of the time on OU games. Nick, and a lot of people I think will probably tell you that had Nick been in a different scheme, like if Nick was under BV, and even if Nick was under those early years of Mike Stoops, or that in the position Stryker was in, maybe we're talking differently. Because clearly Nick has the measurables and everything like that. He's doing well for the Broncos right now. And unfortunately, Eric was undrafted and got picked up, I think, by the Bills for a little bit, but then it didn't really pan out. But college-wise, I'm going Eric Stryker. He was a beast, man. I mean, constant disruption, constant impact on the game. He had some good counterparts next to him too, but so did Nick. Nick wasn't playing with scrubs on D-line. Everybody, for the most part, got drafted. So
I just look at the way y'all utilized Nick Bonito last year, and I know Eric Stryker was go, Nick Bonito was cover up anything the opposing offense can hurt us with. Oh, you're playing Adrian Martinez. We're going to ask you to spy. And guess what? You're going to shut that down.
Yep.
I mean, and he was phenomenal against Nebraska last year. Whenever Grinch asked him to spy, he shut that down. And that's when I was like, man, this kid is so much fun to watch. Just the versatility he brings to stop the modern offense. I was enamored.
He was versatile. There's no lie at all. And I think sometimes those things go under the radar. But yeah, it's a good one. All right, next. So a little bit of a setup for you. Let's say it's 3rd and long, 3rd and 8+. Okay. Which one are you doing out of these two? And there are two concepts from two schools of thought. You going 4 verts, or you going outside zone? And why?
Go ahead.
This is tough. I think I'd probably do 4 verts as a base because I'd feel more comfortable with my flexibility at the audibles out of 4 verts if I'm in the 3rd and 8. And especially if I'm really big into play action, right? I think I can do a lot of things with pre-snap motion and everything in the verts concept to really get some layering in. And guys, you got to remember, Joe Brady changed the way I viewed offensive football with his route layering concepts. And ever since then, I've been a new man. So it's probably the wrong answer, but I'm going to die on that hill.
Hey,
the coach agrees with me. Yes.
Yeah, I'm agreeing wholeheartedly with Ty. Aggressive. I'd honestly like to think about what my personnel would be.
Yeah.
If my personnel, like if I got a guy that, can take off and run, if everybody's turned their back, take advantage of something like that. I really like that. And probably either way I'm ended up going 4 verts. Anyway, I argue it. So yeah.
That's a great question.
Yeah. And so again, like I said, guys, from two schools of thought here, and really I probably should have prefaced it with this. You're on the opponent's 45-yard line.
I'm definitely going 4 verts thing because I'm in range.
Yeah, and so the reason, and for those of you who may not be as adverse, with football concepts in the chat, we're gonna break it down for you here. Two schools of thought are like Trav and Ty have said, they want to go 4 verts. They want to be aggressive, push the ball down the field, create space either over top or option routes, like they said, based on the coverages. Where if you have a bunch of guys going deep and the middle is wide open, you have a guy that can cut that off. And kind of sit there, especially if they're playing zone, which is really most of the time you run 4 verts against. But the other school of thought is it's 3rd and 8. We're a running football team. We're going to go outside zone. Let's say a la Baylor. Let's get 5 to 6 yards. If it pops off and it gets 10 to 12, it's first down. If we get 5 to 6 yards and it's 4th and 2 or 3, we're going for it.
Yeah.
Right. You're running twice. So that's why I want to see where you two's head were at on that. And also the chat, see if we got some football savants in here. A lot of people are asking good questions. Are they blitzing? If it's zone 4 verts, if they're blitzing, I run. That's good. Those are good schools of thought, James. I would probably agree with you guys. I'll probably go 4 verts. I'm aggressive most of the time in Madden. Most of the time,
I'm running the bomb regardless.
The bomb, yeah. I would run 4 verts, and I do a Texas route underneath the 4 verts. You know what I mean? That's the way I would run it in Madden.
Well, look at the route concepts, y'all. 2 route concepts I'm going to pose to you that you could run out of 4 verts, right? Yeah. I mean, it wouldn't technically be verts, but you get the point, right?
Yep.
The Farouk and Stoops touchdown. Look at how they set out the route layering concepts to get those guys. And it's so funny because in our group chat, I had just texted JP that I was going to write a love letter to the wheel route. And about 3 minutes later, that wheel route hit for the touchdown. And things like that, you can put defenses in such disadvantageous positions because even if that wheel doesn't open up, okay, let's say they sell out on the wheel. Now, who's stopping the inside? right? Like there's so much you can do. I don't know that there is a wrong answer. It depends on what you do, but personally, I like the aggression. And if I'm on the 45, I mean, you hear a lot of offensive coordinators, you hear a lot of coaches say this. When you're in that 40 to 40 range, we're going. We're taking the shot to the end zone. We're in that range. We're taking the shot.
Like that. All right. And our last one, you guys know we always do a food one. I'm doing a last minute audible because I have one prepared. But you know what? AP forgot, but he was tripping. It's Thanksgiving tomorrow. So we need to do a Thanksgiving themed this or that. So we are going to do. Okay, I got it.
Oh man.
On the spot.
On the spot, man. Actually, that's
well, Tim. If the stats say that, then that's logically what you do. Analytics would dictate that that's the right call for a reason, because over the 1,000 times that it's been ran, it's worked to the offense's advantage more often than not. So yeah, I mean, I hear you. Outside zone is good, but I mean, just look at modern offenses, man. You look at these layering concepts. Offense is changing.
All right. Got it.
Ooh.
Green bean casserole or mac and cheese. Now, for me, I felt like one's the obvious answer, but believe it or not, doing some research the last couple of weeks just on Thanksgiving food, man, a lot of people they put one of these high on that pedestal. So, what y'all going with?
Mac and cheese.
Yeah. So, you want to qualify that at all, or is that as simple as that? Mac and cheese.
It's simple.
All right. All right. So I'm going green bean casserole simply because I'm taking this as a Thanksgiving question. Like, I'm not making green bean casserole in March. You know what I mean? Like, I'm having it for Thanksgiving because it's a Thanksgiving dish. And my mother just weighed in and said green bean casserole, so I'm glad I picked that right. But green bean casserole it's a staple. I mean, it's part of the Thanksgiving tradition. So, like I said, if I'm just making a dinner in March, or I'm having a cookout in the summer, I'm not loading up the green bean casserole out there. But I think specifically for Thanksgiving, since this is a Thanksgiving question, green bean casserole all the way.
Wow, I'm shocked. I'm not shocked, actually. I mean, I get your rationale from what you said.
Green bean casserole is loading up the chat.
For me, it is. That's why I'm like, dang. For me, it's mac and cheese. I mean, granted, my mom makes my grandma's recipe mac and cheese, and she only typically makes it for Thanksgiving. So I don't eat mac and cheese like all the time. So for me, I see mac and cheese, especially when I'm thinking of it in terms of like Thanksgiving mac and cheese. I see that a certain way. It just hits different on the Thanksgiving plate with the turkey, the ham, right? The dressing. I think last year we did dressing. Would you rather have dressing or stuffing? Because there's a difference between the two. I'm a dressing guy, but anyways, I digress. Mac and cheese for me.
Drew, quit telling my secrets.
What? Now let's address that real quick. 2 minutes.
So I can't lie, guys. I'm not a very big fan of a lot of Thanksgiving food. And I before anybody says this, like I've had people who are really good cooks. One of my mom's best friends, her brother is a 5-star chef at this restaurant in Chicago. I mean, and he flies down on his jet to cook Thanksgiving for these people. They're the family of Lloyd's of London, the insurance people. Yeah, they got it like that, bro. So they fly down, and It's good. It's not the best. I've had turkey. It's okay. I'd much rather I'm smoking a pork butt right now because I'd much rather eat smoked pork than turkey.
To
But
your
that's just
point,
me.
if smoked turkey and green bean casserole and stuffing or dressing, if that was just the best food that was out there, you'd cook it year round.
Yeah.
But you don't. But man, I don't know. It just tastes so good on that one day.
You're not wrong. You're certainly not. And guys, I
Like
go ham on
that's
that
the way
mac
the
and
art.
cheese.
That's the the argument is, well, if smoking a turkey's so good, why don't we smoke a turkey in the summer? I get that, but I'm telling you, when you got all the fam around, got everything, you got gravy on everything, it's just. I think it's probably because you eat so much and all that tryptophan. Like, I think we just wouldn't be productive at all if we ate that meal year round. Everybody be
True.
napping all the time.
And I got to address what Blake says because Blake, this is bad. Unironically, my family used to. Now, hear me out. We would go to Golden Corral for Thanksgiving. Hear me out. Let me explain why. Every year for Thanksgiving, I grew up on a horse ranch. So every year around this time in Oklahoma City is the reining futurity. It is a massive horse show, but it's ongoing right now. So we would never be home for Thanksgiving. So my Thanksgiving were spent at a horse show. I'd get done working, cleaning stalls all day for my family, and then they just hire me to do everybody else's stalls. So then at the end of the day, nobody's cooking. We're all tired. We've been working all day, and we just go to the only place that was open. So unironically, yes, I did grow up on Golden Corral for Thanksgiving because we worked.
Hey, but that makes sense, right? It's what you and the family have to do, and ultimately, Thanksgiving is obviously about the food a little bit. It's mostly about being grateful for your family, who you got, the people around you. It don't matter if you're eating ham and turkey or if you're eating some steak from Golden Corral and some fries, maybe. You're there with the people you love. That's what it's about. And we love y'all. We appreciate y'all being here. We're thankful for the constituents of the JP and Trav Show, the loyal JP and Trav followers throughout the year, really. But, man, I'm thankful for my brother Ty coming on tonight. I hope you have a good Thanksgiving, brother. Definitely thankful for my brother Trav, his family down there, and thankful for your mom and dad. Love to get to meet them last weekend, and hopefully you guys have a great Thanksgiving too. Ty, let the people know where they can find you and anything else you want to say before we head out.
Yeah, guys, I can't really tell y'all how much it means to come on here, and especially now. I've told you, JP, I don't have family in Texas. It's just me. And my mom is in Virginia with my brother and sister, and my dad died a few years ago. So during the holidays, it's definitely been something that's been tougher. And being on here, it's just a great way to spend my night before Thanksgiving. It means a ton. The invite always means a ton. I really do appreciate every time you give me the opportunity to come on here, guys. You can find me at Around the Table Sports on YouTube. I just talk football all day. That's pretty much well it. I've been very lucky to be graced with some of the best community members, I would argue, on the platform, and a lot of them are here this evening. So it's awesome to see.
Yeah, man, we appreciate you coming on. Anytime it's funny because I tell JP, it's I won't name names obviously, but normally we're like, oh hey, yeah, come back anytime. No, we mean it totally with you.
Yeah, I love
back,
this, man.
Come back anytime, man. Always enjoy the conversation. Grateful for both you guys. Grateful for everybody in the comments, everybody engaging, everybody that's liking things, sharing, all that kind of stuff. JP and I just started doing this, 58 episodes ago, 60 episodes ago, something like that. Yep. And so it's been a lot of fun. So we don't try and take ourselves too seriously on it. I got Gracie here with me. I've been eating and this, that, and the other. So, Ty used the word community, and that's what it is. So it's cool just that we've all built this up together, and we can all be here together. So appreciate y'all. Grateful for y'all. I, on that note, am gonna go upstairs and maybe switch to bourbon.
Oh, oh,
Oh yeah, great. Well, love both of you guys. Appreciate you both. Appreciate everybody in the chat, and everybody have a great Thanksgiving tomorrow. We'll see you next week, and we'll be talking about a bowl game, and hopefully the Sooners are 7-5 heading in to bowl season. So appreciate y'all. See you next week. Boomer.
Bama by 5,000.